Hey guys, and welcome back to the only series out there that combines the lore of Magic the Gathering with the physical cards you can win. I'm Simon, and this is Friday Night Lore. Let's try to stay on track with the series as we continue to go through the story of Kaladesh. In the previous video, we discovered how Chandra and Liliana traveled to the Pyromancer's homeworld in search of a renegade who seemed to be in trouble. A member of the consulate came seeking the Gatewatch's help in dealing with these destructive rebels, a group Chandra's parents were once a part of, triggering her extreme response to run off and help the one who's been targeted. Now, with little information, she and Liliana kinda just bumbled around a bit on Kaladesh before getting some actual leads. Well, more like literally just bumping into the Renegade while she was being apprehended by the head judge, who turned out to be none other than Tezzeret. The Renegade also managed to be someone familiar, although Chandra wasn't prepared for it. She was her mother, Nalaar, who she had thought died by the hands of the consulate officer Baral so many years ago. Now they've been reunited, but their troubles are far from over. We start our story with a flashback, returning us to the days just after Chandra's life changed forever. Her parents were seemingly gone, and her own attempted execution was foiled thanks to her Planeswalker spark igniting and delivering her to safety. While she may have left all of Kaladesh behind that day, the plane didn't go out of existence. Events took place which would bring us to where we are today. Despite all evidence suggesting otherwise, clearly Chandra's mother, Pia, survived the wrath that was Baral's campaign of hate. After Chandra collapsed in the burning village, thinking everything was taken from her, and she herself was taken to the capital to be executed, Baral's men discovered that Pia Nalaar yet survived and captured her as well. As they prepared to execute the young Chandra, Baral, of course, didn't mention anything about her mother's survival, wanting to let the fate of her parents seep into her very being before ending her as well. Yet, her spark ignited, allowing her to escape his justice and permanently disfiguring him. Baral was publicly humiliated and demoted. He may have lost the Pyromancer, but he still had one prize: her mother. Days after the tragic events which took her family from her, Pia awoke in a dark, cramped cell, with only a small port for light. She didn't know how much time had passed or what had happened to her family, only that she was captured by the consulate, and fire. So much fire. After a few days of isolation, finally a voice pierced the silence. It was deep and authoritative, almost evil. It was the officer who had torched the village and killed innocent people just to get his hands on her family, Baral. He begins to play his game, a game he rather enjoys: psychological torture. Her family had taken everything from him, even if she didn't know it. He was going to make every agonizing second of her confinement a point of principle, anything to make up for the pain they had caused him. But yeah, don't feel bad for him. He did kinda, try to kill a little girl solely on the basis that he doesn't like pyromancers, so yeah, he's kind of a jerk. Baral visits Pia every day to share a few words of encouragement. How's the weather in there? You look well. Oh, and I murdered your child. And as you could expect, this type of news doesn't go over well for a mother. This man, Baral, used her child's death as leverage to get her to crack, but he underestimated Pia's strength of will. Rather than responding in a way which would have fed Baral's sick insecurities, she stayed strong and silent. She only spoke a few words to Baral over the course of her captivity, learning whatever she could about the man. Pia discovered that Baral was in fact a mage himself. Even though mages were rare and basically second-class citizens, he was probably hiding it from the consulate. She also came to learn that before Chandra's supposed execution, she had lashed out at Baral with intense fire, permanently disfiguring his face, which he now hides behind a mask. In probably one of the best lines in MTG history, Baral shows Pia his scarred face and proclaims, "This is the work of your child." To which Pia replies, "A mother couldn't be prouder." And that was the second time Baral was burned by a Nalaar. So, with all the torture and cramped living situation, Pia decided she didn't want to stay at Club Consulate anymore, so she started to plan her escape. Now, how she actually broke free isn't really discussed, but she does manage to secure her freedom. She spent her days on the outside, staying out of sight, but also fighting back when she could. She returned to the ranks of the Renegades, the criminal organization which sought to undermine the Consulate's stranglehold on the plane's precious ether. Only now, as Renegade Prime, Pia's interest didn't sit solely in robbing the rich and giving to the needy like a steampunk Robin Hood. No, she wanted to actively poke at the Consulate itself. Change would never happen if they stayed in the shadows, only taking a little at a time. Real change came from action. She met with her fellow rebellious inventors. It was time to take back their world from the corrupt and greedy who had stolen it from them. Those who police ether as if it were born to them, and not of Kaladesh itself. The freedom to do with it as they please, not work from some consulate factory. Today, during the Inventors Fair where the consulate bathe in their opulence, the Renegades will show all that there's a better way. Inventors would no longer be forced to suckle from the consulate merely for survival. They can take back their world. With that, her Renegades sent out hundreds of small thopters into the air and over the festivities of the Inventors Fair. These small winged constructs put on a wonderful aerial display, changing colors rapidly and moving in complicated formations. The citizens and inventors were captivated, the guards alerted. They moved into the streets to restore order, and all at once the tiny thopters released their excess ether into the fairgrounds, causing the automated guards to overload and topple over. The commotion caused a ruckus as thunderous crashes could be heard all across the fair. There was no hiding the Renegades now, and that's exactly what Pia wanted, to be seen and heard. With consulate officers filling the grounds, sirens blaring, and speakers alerting the citizens to exit the fairgrounds, Pia and her Renegades made their escape. Even though she was soft-footed, Pia still managed to get herself captured, but you can't really blame her when you find out who actually caught her. The head judge of the Inventors Fair himself, the planeswalker Tezzeret. Grasping her with his strong metallic arm, he spun Pia around to finally face this Renegade Prime who was so eager to disrupt his fair. The idea of this one man thinking he controlled the fair, their city, unnerved Pia, causing her to exclaim in true hero fashion that they'll stop him one day soon. But before their interaction could go any further, Tezzeret himself was turned around by a pale woman Pia had never seen before. But it was clear these two had some bad history together. Behind her was another woman, younger with red hair like she had in her youth. Her face was familiar, but she couldn't understand why. A tide of memories washed over her, her lost daughter, so many years. Could it possibly be Chandra? The girl's response confirmed it. This was Chandra and Nalaar. But before they could be reunited, a number of consulate officers appeared to block her way. This was Pia's chance. They were distracted. She could make a break for it, but it would almost certainly mean that her daughter would be captured instead. Always doing a mother's duty, Pia offered herself willingly to Tezzeret and his guards, giving Chandra and her black-haired friend a chance to escape. The groups were now joined by Davin Bane and Nissa Ravane, who traveled to Kaladesh to find Chandra. Davin, who's a safety inspector for the consulate, took his place by Tezzeret's side, while Nissa tried to hold back Chandra from making a huge mistake and pulling Liliana away from murdering everyone. Pia and Nalaar fell into consulate custody, and the three planeswalkers made it out scot-free. Chandra fell over in a heap of despair, losing her mother for a second time after so many years. Liliana went on about the man with the metal arm, Tezzeret. She knows him, knows his power. His presence here isn't a coincidence. Nissa was trying to get a hold of the situation. Why had they come here alone? Was Liliana provoking Chandra? The two got into a heated argument over Chandra's well-being, as the pyromancer herself got up and went for a walk, closely chased after by Nissa. Chandra would make contact with an unexpected ally, an old friend of her family's, a fellow smuggler and supporter of the Renegades, Ovia Pishiri. She had been following her since she discovered her return and understood her situation. Her touch was calming and voice reassuring. Together, her, Chandra, and Nissa walked away into the dark alleys and hidden places of Kaladesh. And that, guys, is the story as we continue through Kaladesh. Obviously, the reunion of the Nalaars is a touching moment for Magic the Gathering, but like all moments, it's fleeting. Now, they're again separated, and it's up to Chandra, Nissa, and their new, old ally, Ovia, to figure out how to break Pia out. Liliana kinda walked off to do her own thing, but I'm sure she'll be back before long. She's the only one who truly knows the disastrous position they're in with Tezzeret leading the consulate. Now, as with all my FNLs, it's time to announce the giveaway card of the week. And for this video, I thought it was super fitting to give out Pia Nalaar herself. To enter for your chance to win this card, all you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel and leave a comment on this video. At the end of the week, I'll select one at random, and announce them with the next FNL. Which leads us to last FNL's winner for this copy of Chandra, Torch of Defiance. The winner of this awesome card is Tommy Gaddy. Congratulations! Just contact me via email or Twitter to claim your prize, and of course, I want to thank everyone who commented and enjoyed the video. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of Friday Night Lore. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. It goes a long way in supporting future content. You can also support me through Patreon and following me on social media. Find links to those in the description below. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.